Welcome to the JAMODI Podcast. My name is Turner Cavender, former professional athlete and action sport enthusiast with a passion to spread inspiration and positivity. Each week, we deliver you an inspiring message to help you put your life in forward motion to achieve your ultimate goals. Now let's get this show started because it's just a matter of doing it. Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the split screen here for the JAMODI Podcast. I'm here with my good friend, Josh Carter. Thanks for getting on here today.
What's up, Turner? Are you on this side of me? I'm seeing something different, but
I think so. No, on this side.
All right. Cool, man. I'm doing well. It's been a good day thus far. Had a good lift, so I'm in a good mood.
You got your lift in already?
What's that?
You got your lift in already today?
Yeah, normally I do like some sprints or intervals in the morning, like early, which I already did this morning. Did them about 5:36 this morning, and then I typically lift in the afternoon. But today's a little wonky because I'm headed off to teach Mastermind tomorrow, so I got to get some stuff in and a little bit early and go pack and prepare PowerPoints and all that shit. So,
okay.
Yeah, so I'm in and feeling good.
How about tell me? Let's start off with let's tell the audience who you are. You're somebody that's been a mentor for me for probably about 4 years now. And so I want to tell the listeners now who you are, where you come from, what you do, the whole shebang.
I'll back it up 20-something years and we can go from there. I went to, I'm older than I look, thankfully. Well, I don't know. Is that good? I mean,
that's
I'm old.
A really good thing.
No getting around that, but at least I don't look old. Anyway, so 25-ish years ago, I'm going to UCLA. I was getting a degree in economics. Wasn't really passionate about it, and was actually at UCLA is where I literally started lifting for the first time, and kind of fell in love with working out. Just genetically, I get pretty big pretty quick. So I, at one point, I applied for a job as a trainer on a gym in Santa Monica. I think it switched names a couple times. I think it was called the Santa Monica Sports Club at the time. For those in the area, it's on 3rd Street Promenade. It's now called Burn. And anyway, so thankfully the manager there didn't know anything. so he just hired this 20-something-year-old kid who, had a few muscles on him and hope for the best. And so that was kind of where I learned my chops. So there was a trainer there named Mike McElray who kind of knew what he was doing, at least certainly more than I did, which was nothing. I got my education from at that point Muscle and Fitness and Flex magazine, where I had my education. And so I started training people there and really became in love with it and determined that economics, while I was good at it, my GPA at UCLA and within my major was really good. I didn't want to do it, man. So It took me a while to get going as a personal trainer. And I remember my wife at the time, I remember one time when I got my paycheck and she got hers and they were the same. And I don't remember how much it was. It wasn't much, both of us. I mean, she was working 40 hours and I was working like 15 and they were the same. And she was pissed. So, so that was going to be like, hey, I think I can make a go of this. So then I went from that. I owned a supplement store for a little bit, online selling supplements and stuff. And again, I was good at it. And there became a point where it's like, I didn't need to shit to get off the pot. And it was bodybuilding.com was just coming up then. And that guy and me were kind of neck and neck at that. And I was like, you know what? I don't have a passion for, just selling supplements online. And it was one of those things where, like when androstenedione first came out, I made a killing with that and some other things. But people would email and say, hey, it's 50 cents cheaper over here. Will you match the price? It's like, I don't want to have to 50 cents. I don't have to deal with that. So I ended up selling that, thinking, it's not what I want to do. Now, I guess joke's on me because bodybuilding.com sold at one point for like 100 million or something crazy. But like I said, I just didn't have a passion for it. But I took the money from that sale and bought my first gym in North Hollywood. And I called it the North Hollywood Gym, and it was a real pit. I mean, it was dirt cheap. I want to say I bought it for 10 grand. And so I ran that for a couple of years, and it really didn't make much of a profit at that point. And but my personal training did. So it was my personal training that that made the gym, profitable and made me money. And my wife was able to quit her job, and we were able to buy a house and have a couple kids and all that stuff. So the personal training was doing well. I then opened my second location in West Hills, which is where I live right now. And that gym took off rather rapidly. And it was at that point who I hooked up with a man well, Bedros Keuilian. And so I had known him for a little while, but I hired him to be my coach. And we put together a plan on how to make my gym profitable within 6 months. It did so well, it was 6 weeks to being profitable. And ultimately, I didn't like the gym in North Hollywood. It took too much time. It wasn't profitable enough. And the gym in West Hills ended up supporting the one in North Hollywood. So I shut down the one in North Hollywood and spent all my time in West Hills. And that did rather well. And actually, it was at that point when I started getting into the info product business, because one of the things that Bedros and I worked on at that point was how to close people. Literally, he goes, here's my script. And I said, I think, what if we did this instead? Wouldn't that be better? He's like, yeah, that would. So so we went back and forth, and okay, here's how we would dialogue, and here's all this. And he was like, dude, we should film this and sell it. And so we did. We filmed it and sold it. And we've gone through a couple versions, but man, that was 7-8 years ago. And like I said, we've had a couple generations of it, but I'm still getting $300-$500 a month from that, residual income. So that's cool.
Okay.
And then I just had to move locations. My lease ran out, and it really wasn't a good spot. So I found a new location. That's when I really decided to really kick it in with FitBody and go whole hog. Because at the beginning it was like I'm in, but it was a little shaky, and it wasn't. I wanted to see what direction it was. I mean, I had full faith in Bedros and what he has to teach, and they were kind of finding their footing at first, and I lent my expertise to the best of my ability, and then clearly it took off. And it was around then that I became a mastermind coach for Bedros' 7-figure group. And then I also became the head coach of the FitBody Mastermind. And then not long after that, I took the position of chief marketing officer for FitBody Bootcamp. So, and I also did a bunch of info products in there too. I did I did a Facebook product that killed it. I wrote a couple of some stuff you use, right? Some of my email campaigns, like a body transformation. Didn't you do like a?
That's right. You better believe it.
Or one of those. So I did a bunch of those that really did well. That body transformation program was at the time the top selling fitness promotion out there. So that did real well for me. And so now I'm creating programs for FitBody Bootcamp, doing all the promotions for well, I shouldn't say doing all the promotions. I'm part of a team, but we create promotions that go out to over 500 locations worldwide. And I do a lot of coaching, and then also got some other fires in the iron. No, irons in the fire, says the copyright.
Tell me, so you wear many hats.
Anyway, that's right? About where I am now. So I do a lot of coaching. Coaching is really, if you look at it, Turner, what I did was I went from coaching people one-on-one, like, private personal training, right? Yeah. And then industry changed, economics changed. We had a big economic downturn in, what was that, 2007, 8, something like that. And personal training went downhill fast, so we had to change our business model. So we went to group training. So that did that, right? So I went from private to group. And then I went to, ultimately my passion is helping people in some capacity and bettering myself. And it's kind of funny because it's a semi-selfish act in that helping other people makes me feel amazing. The more people I help, the better I feel. So great, I'm gonna help as many people as I can. So the next stage of that evolution was me becoming a coach to other trainers. So the influence that I exert became exponential. And it's because I love working with people whose passion is helping others like yourself. So working with them, then, filters, hey, okay, great, here's what we do. And so it's just exponential. Just, it's an amazing feeling to know that, I see trainers that'll promote something I created, or, hey, this promotion you did got me 200 new clients or whatever. And it's like, wow, that's pretty awesome. I don't even necessarily need credit. Okay. Just knowing, hey, like, when I'll see a Facebook ad, it's like, I made that. That's my copy. That's kind of fun. The only thing that pisses me off is like when trainers do better with my promotions than I do. It's like when I get 75, 80 clients and they got 150. I'm like, God damn it, the hell.
Yeah. So I got a question for you. So you wear many hats. You've done a lot of things.
Yeah.
But what are some hardships you've had during your journey?
You're trying to make me cry. One big one was that North Hollywood gym, which it was my baby, man. I really wanted to make it successful, and it was a very low income area at the time. It's now turned around quite a bit, actually, but at the time, and this was 10 years ago, it was a real dump, man. And so it was a real heartbreak for me to have to shut that place down, even though it was losing money, even though, like, there's that old adage, you're spending 80% of your time on something that's making nothing, and the thing that's you're spending 20% of your time is making 80% of your profits. So what I ultimately decided is I got to shut that down, spend my time in West Hills, because the West Hills is paying for everything. When I did that blew up, but it was painful to pull that plug. And it was not long after that, due to all, because I threw money at it, right, hand over fist, to try to get it to succeed. Yeah. I put in new flooring, I bought new equipment, I had the place painted, I did a bunch of advertising, but it just didn't matter because in that radius, they couldn't afford my services, and at the time. And ultimately what that led to was me having to declare bankruptcy, and that sucked. That got very bad, to the point where we had, I think we had leases on some cars, and we had to give up. We went down to one car, and so it's like I started having to ride my bike to the gym. Thankfully, where I lived was only about 90 seconds away via car, and like 5 minutes via bike. So I even in the rain, I had to bike to the gym. I just told people, no, I love biking, which is bullshit because I fucking hate it. But but I did that. I borrowed my father's car for a while because and we almost lost our house too. So but I was able to dig my way out of that, and with the help of Bedros' mentorship, and my wife at the time certainly did a lot of work to work with the banks.
I was going to ask if, and so you have a mentor now, right? So I wanted to know if you have a mentor today, and how important is a mentor to you? Over the course of the last few years, Bedros and I have essentially become best friends. So it's kind of cool that literally one of the smartest guys in the business, if I call him, he'll pick up the phone. And he and I work together so closely now. And it's kind of funny, actually. He and I were talking about this yesterday as we're preparing for the mastermind. I'm saying, hey, because this one's all me. I've got Matt Wilbur, who's a industry leader, and Samantha Taylor also will be co-coaching with me. But Bedros isn't going to be around. Yeah. I said, hey, is there anything you want me to say or whatever? And we were talking about it. And what we both just, and this is true, man. It is so much easier to solve somebody else's problems than your own. For your own problems, you just don't have perspective. You're running a filter, you just can't see it, right? But you're looking at someone else's problems, and you're like, oh, that's easy. All right, here's what you did. And so for me, that's what coaching is about. So that's why I turned to him for coaching, for sure, because it's like, hey, I've got this issue. It's funny. The same question, if someone else were to ask me, I'd be able to solve it, but I'm asking it of myself, and I can't quite figure it out. So I can turn to him for that. The cool thing about a mastermind is that, guess what, man? It's full of people, really smart people. I always tell them, guys, I'm not the only smart one in the room. There's a lot of you guys who are smart here. So give me feedback and enter the conversation and post, suggestions. And hey, you do something that worked, tell us. Do something that, sucked, tell us about that too, so we don't make the same mistake. And then, I learn I like to say I learn as much from them as they learn from me. But having a mentor is worth its weight in gold. And if you look at the most successful people in any industry or endeavor, they all have coaches. Have coaches. An easy one is like any sports. I'm not even a sports guy, man. You look at any sports guy, the best player in the NFL, he's got a coach, man. Best one in the NBA, the best one in baseball. They all have coaches and people they turn to, and likely in those scenarios, multiple coaches. A baseball player will have a throwing coach, a catching coach, a hitting coach, a whatever, right? And they've all got those things. So depending on what I'm looking for,
I have different avenues to turn to. Like if I need tech help, I'm not turning to Bedros. He doesn't know shit. But if I need sales copy or funnel or even client interaction, absolutely. Mindset stuff, sure. But if I need help on Facebook ads, I have other avenues to turn to.
So you've taken the myth, applied it to your personal and your business life, but I want to know, like, since when you have a mentor, a very, very important lessons with leadership is how do you conduct leadership, and how important is it to apply it to your lifestyle, to when you coach your clients, because they look to you as a mentor, a leader, and the expert.
Sure. So, leadership is one of those things. I believe it can be taught, but it can be tough. I think, leaders tend to have a natural ability to lead, and non-leaders don't. And I'm reading a book called, I just started it, so I can't comment on the whole book, but it's kind of interesting. The first chapter or two. The book is called Barking Up the Wrong Tree. And it's about the science of success. And one of the things that he talked about early on was that if you look at valedictorians, like high school valedictorians, they've been tracked. And what they found is that they're not particularly successful in life. They tend to assimilate and enter society and the workplace in a very ordinary fashion because school rewards you for following the rules and doing what you're told. Life doesn't work like that. Life does not reward you for following the rules and assimilating. So that's why they tend to reach a certain level of success. And, it might be, more successful than potentially average, but they're not the top dogs. The top dogs are always the outliers, the ones who, maybe dropped out of school or are the odd ducks. If you look at Bill Gates or, Bedros, he dropped out of school, and Elon Musk and Steve Jobs and all those guys who, literally have changed the world. You look at them, they're outliers, and they look at things differently, and they don't necessarily conform and aren't afraid to take risks, and are amazing leaders because they can't do it all themselves, right? And so leadership is one of those things. Again, I think you can learn leadership skills, but there has to be an underlying inherent ability to lead. And I believe, I'll be honest, I believe I have that. So I'm able to lead multiple teams. I'm able to lead a marketing team at Fit Body Boot Camp at headquarters. I'm able to lead my team at my gym. I'm able to lead, my mastermind clients and other areas as well. Leadership, guess what, man? Being a parent is leadership. So, and I truly believe you have to lead by example. It shouldn't be a do as I say and not as I do thing. So that's why, you're in good shape, but how many of us, go ahead.
Oh, okay. One thing I do hate to see is like people that are in our industry, when you see a trainer that needs a trainer, or
that's exactly where I was going.
Oh my God, it's terrible.
I mean,
nuts.
Fat trainers, I'm sure they're good people. There have been times in my life where I've certainly been heavier than I should. And it occurred to me, I have no fucking excuses, man. I own a goddamn gym. There's no reason why I can't work whenever I want, right? And the bottom line is nobody's shoving food down your face, right? So I'm the only one who's responsible for that. Mm-hmm. So, it goes all together. How you do anything is how you do everything. So physically, I got my shit together, certainly within the past few years. And I apply that same mentality to how I approach tasks in life. There are certain things that you can control, right? And I can control, for the most part, my workouts. If I can't work out like I did today, right? I got shit to do in my normal time slot. Guess I'm getting up early. I'm going to work out early. Okay, great. Nobody's shoving food down my face. I can control that. And so even when I tell my personal training clients, my bootcamp clients, is you can't control the scale. You can control the things that affect the scale. You can control showing up 3 times a week. You can control what you put in your mouth, and you can control bringing in a food log. All 3 of those things are in your control. And when you do that, you will succeed. So control what you can control, accept what you can't, and make steps to achieve your goals. So
That's exactly, that was on point, kind of how I have my thought process. But the next question I wanted to kind of go through is, plan that you could give the viewer and the listener right now to take an action plan to go find and seek a mentor of their own. Now, there's a need, but what is an action plan that they need to take to actually start? Because some people don't even know where or how to look for one.
All right. Yeah. I have my prejudices just based on my personal experience, and that's fine. So obviously, if you're within the Fit Body Bootcamp community, they should all know that we have our resources, like our Fit Body Family page, which you're an active member of, and our mastermind program as well, which I'm certainly part of. There are other coaches out there. I want to say Pat Rigsby, and there's a bunch of them. Even Alan Cosgrove has his stuff, and Martin Rooney, and there's a bunch. For me, for my money, obviously the best of the business is my partner, Bedros Keuilian. So that's a good one. And the easy way to go about it is kind of just start following them. Any of them that you resonate with, because maybe you resonate with one more than another. Cool. Man, not everybody likes a particular flavor. So find the one that works for you. Follow them on social media. Figure out what their core values are, man, what they bring to the table. And, maybe, one has a stronger marketing, slant, and one has a more mindset slant, and figure out what you need and go from there. And then any coach worth of salt has some sort of kind of introductory program. So, Bedros has his Fitness Business Ignition, which is a very low level kind of introduction to the coaching, mentoring, masterminding program. It's a pretty low barrier of entry, and you get in that, and then you can ascend based on what's what. It's funny because one of the things because I try to recruit people into my mastermind all the time, because, like I said, it helps me help them. And it's funny because a lot of them say, well, I need to make some money first. And what I tell them is that's like a client coming to you and say, I need to lose weight before I work with you. It's like, what are you doing? Why would you do that? Why would you say I need to lose weight? Well, I need to lose weight before I start working out. It's like, so you want to do things inefficiently and then get here. So no. So start with me, and if you're talking about training, start with me, and you want to get from A to C. Well, guess what, man? If you work with me, you can bypass B, right? Because I've been there, done that, been doing this 25 years. I know the tips and tricks to get you to whatever you want. And the same goes in the fitness business. When you sign up with a mentor, when you get on with the mastermind program, you can avoid the pitfalls, man. You don't have to declare bankruptcy like me. I'll tell you what to do to avoid that shit. That was terrible, man. I thought there were times where, like, shit, do I need to get a job? Do I have to go and flip burgers or whatever? It's like, because I was going through my head. I had 2 kids and a wife and a house payment and all that shit. I'm like, my God, is this really what it's come to? And I wasn't going to accept defeat. I found that alternative unacceptable. And so through the help of my coach, I was able to overcome it and do pretty goddamn well for myself. And now I'm able to help people do the same. There's, shit happens to people, and it's unfortunate and many times unfair, but life is not, the universe isn't going to throw something at you that you can't handle. But there's that old, I believe it's a Japanese proverb, fall down 7 times, get up 8.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I know that when probably about 4 years ago when I met you, I was in that same position looking for mentors, and and you helped me, Bedros helped me, and a lot of other people in those mastermind meetings were great. So, being a part of a mentorship group was always very beneficial and very valuable. And, I wanted to kind of make this interview because I do find that, just like you said, when you're not in the heat of the moment and you're outside the box and someone's looking in, they can help somebody. Just like you said earlier, like, I can help some other people when I think in question and have the same problem, but I need somebody else to tell me to get my shit together.
Absolutely.
And so, so that's a big help for me, and you've always been a big help and mentor for me. So kudos to you, and thank you so much for all the help over the years.
But I do want to.
The biggest thanks is that you're helping other people, like doing this podcast and stuff. So it's exponential, man. Giving back is the one of the best rewards. And actually, back to that book, Barking Up the Wrong Tree. One of the interesting insights within the first few chapters was that the nice guys finish last axiom, which you might have heard. Well, based on a bunch of scientific studies, what they found is, nice guys finish last, but they also finish first. And what they found out was the nice guys who are so nice that they just give everything and leave them and do nothing for themselves, they'll finish last. But the nice guys who give back and then also work on themselves tend to be the top performers and the most successful people there are. So in the vast majority of instances. And so while they say that the jerk in the workplace might get ahead in the short term, there's no long-term success because eventually that burns bridges and burns things out. So you need to find that give back and also work on yourself to be the number one. And a coach can help you draw those lines and say, hey, you need to work on you here and give to others there.
Yeah. I mean, that's always been a big passion of mine, is to spread positivity and inspiration and giving value to the community. So I've really been able to, once I was able to really start refocusing and as I'm helping people, I was able to work on myself and do a lot of personal growth. So therefore, I was able to give more value to the world and admit and took the mask off of me having to mask on my masculinity and showing to the world where I've failed and gotten back up. So, the mentorship is a huge player in that.
Yeah.
I do advise somebody to whatever realm you're in, if it's business or if it's fitness or anything you have in life, or, you need to get some stress, depression, or, you need a therapist, that's mentorship in a way. So I definitely advise that.
You're absolutely right. Becoming vulnerable, accepting your flaws, and doing what you can to eliminate them. And everybody has flaws, man, and you're going to. It is a continual. It is a journey, not a destination. And your success will never outpace your personal development. So when you work on your personal development, meaning who you are truly, accepting your flaws, trying to eliminate them, all that stuff, then your success will follow. And yeah, man, therapy is great stuff. I've been going to a therapist for a couple of years now because, it's those self-limiting beliefs that get in our head, right? Where we tell ourselves that we're not worthy, that we're not capable, that we're undeserving. And that shit will get in your head and rattle around and you'll start to believe it. And a therapist can help you identify that. And the truth of the matter is, and I do this in a lot of my group closes and I preach it to all of my clients, is that lies go both ways. So for me, the lie that kicks around in my head most frequently is that I'm fat and lazy. Now, I heard that frequently from my stepfather when I was growing up, that I was fat and lazy. And so that gets in my head, shit, man, I just turned 46 and I haven't seen that man in 35 years, but what he said rattles around up there. And now I'm able to identify it and know that that is a lie and I can dismiss it. But those lies, if we tell them enough, will become truth. So the good news is lies work both ways. So if you decide to start telling yourself good lies, then that is what will become a truth, because we'll find ways to validate either one. If we say we're fat and lazy, if I say I'm fat and lazy, I'll go, oh yeah, you know what? Last night I sat on the couch and I had a couple cookies. God, I guess I am fat and lazy. I'll find ways to make that true. But if I say I'm strong and I'm worthy and I'm deserving and I'm confident and I'm worth it, I could go, you know what? Yesterday I deadlifted 450 pounds. That's a lot of goddamn weight, man. I'm pretty strong. That's pretty impressive. And I'll find ways to validate that, or I helped this client do that, or whatever. So yeah, your mind will find ways to validate the stories that you tell yourself. So tell yourself the best stories possible, repeat them, and they will become your truth.
Boom. Yeah, so it's always good to have internal feedback as well as external feedback. And that, that's one thing you probably learned from somebody else. Yeah. Maybe you needed somebody else to tell you that. So I don't know if you learned that on yourself over the years.
Of course, you always can take those seeds that somebody else plants in your head of personal development, and someone will say something and you go, oh shit, that is so me. And then you could blossom that and take that learning and make it your own and figure out, okay, So that's what they said about this. But with me, I need to do this, this, and this, and then it'll completely transform, within your head and hopefully transform your life.
Ended off with a question, and the last question I like to ask people on the JAMODI podcast is, as you probably know, the podcast is called JAMODI, and I live my life by it, tattooed all over me. Not really all over me in one spot, but what the JAMODI quote means to you and how you could apply it to your own life.
So basically, it's about getting off your ass and getting the shit done that you need to get done. And so that involves, and I often have to say that to my clients, and I'll honestly say it to myself, because there's projects that I've been sitting on. It's like, what the hell's wrong with me? It's what is preventing you from taking the action that will make you successful. And when you can remove that obstacle, then your dreams can become reality. So what do I mean by that? A very simple methodology is the 5-second rule, which is a book by Mel Robbins, not related to Tony Robbins. And quite simply, it's countdown 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And at 1, you take that action, whatever it is. And this a very simple explanation of that, or example of that, would be getting out of bed. Your alarm goes off. Okay, you hit the button and you go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And 1, you sit up, and getting up at 5 a.m. sucks for most of us. I get up at 5 and it sucks for about the first 20 to 30 seconds. After that, I'm good. So if I can get past those 20, 30 seconds, it's roses. But so I count it down. But the same can be applied towards anything. But sometimes it's actually figuring out what that next step is. So you need to figure out what your next step is, and you need to eliminate any excuse that you have, which is what is preventing you from taking the action that you should take. And most of the time it's fear. It's a fear of failure. It's a fear of not knowing what to do. It's a fear of humiliating yourself. There's a couple different fears that tend to get in our way and prevent us from taking action. So identify that fear, understand it's bullshit, and take the action. And you might screw it up. So what? But what was it? Colin Powell said, more dreams have been killed by indecision than by failure. Something along those lines. I think I butchered that quote up. But basically, not deciding is far worse than deciding and doing it wrong. So, take a swing, man. If you can't, you can't get a hit unless you take a swing, and swing for the fucking fences. Even at my age, I don't mind taking a big swing. And if it's a miss, it's a miss. All right. I can recover. There's not much I can't recover from at this point. So figure out what's the obstacle that's preventing you from taking that action. And then, maybe use Mel Robbins' 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 thing, 5-second rule, and do it, and just take the action. And you can't get a hit if you don't take a swing.
All right. Well, hell, that's a hell of a JAMODI quote. What that means to you, how you feel about it. I love it.
Cool.
Well, thank you so much for coming on live with me today. I hope that the feed was clear enough here.
Yeah, I hope it worked out. I hope the technical aspects of the show went well.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, I'll see you guys later, guys. If you have any questions, please comment down in the box below. Share this with your friends. You never know who this could impact. Josh, I'll see you next time. All right? Later.
All right, man.